Kano woke slowly on April 29, 2012. The air was warm, still, and deceptive in its calm. Students at Bayero University Kano prepared for Sunday worship. It was meant to be a day of prayer, reflection, and peace. The old campus sat like a small city within a city. Lecture halls stood silent. The chapel of the resurrection filled gradually with students dressed in their best clothes. Some had exams the next week. Some had dreams that stretched far beyond Kano. Northern Nigeria in 2012 was already bleeding. Suicide bombings had become grim headlines. The extremist group Boko Haram had intensified attacks against churches, security agencies, and symbols of Western education. To the insurgents, universities represented Western corruption. Education itself was viewed as a threat. Bayero University was more than a campus, it was an ideological target. Inside the chapel, hymns rose into the morning air. Students bowed their heads in prayer. Outside, nothing appeared unusual. Witnesses later recalled seeing unfamiliar faces lingering near the worship area. No one thought much of it. It was a Sunday. Strangers could be visitors. At approximately 9 a.m., a thunderous blast shattered the peace. The ground trembled. Windows exploded inward. Screams replaced hymns. Black smoke consumed the chapel grounds. Shattered wood, twisted metal, and fragments of lives lay scattered across the courtyard. Moments after the blast, gunshots erupted. Armed men fired indiscriminately at fleeing worshippers. Panic turned into terror. Almost simultaneously, other explosions detonated at nearby worship centers around the campus. It was not random. It was planned. Survivors described running barefoot across gravel and broken glass. Some fell. Others pulled them up. The only thought was escape. Among the dead was a respected university professor attending service. His colleagues would later describe him as calm, brilliant, and devoted to his students. One student recounted hiding behind a collapsed bench, pretending to be dead while gunmen walked past. He could hear breathing, faint, desperate breathing, around him. A female student described clutching her friend's hand as smoke filled the room. When she looked again, her friend was no longer moving. Residents near the campus thought it was a gas explosion until they heard sustained gunfire. Shops shut immediately. Streets emptied. Security forces and emergency responders rushed to the scene. Sirens pierced the smoke-filled air. Hospitals in Kano became overwhelmed. Blood covered floors. Doctors worked frantically without enough supplies. Initial reports spoke of over 20 killed. Later accounts suggested the number may have exceeded 30. Dozens were injured. Kano held its breath. The city had a fragile religious balance. Authorities feared reprisal violence. Responsibility quickly pointed toward Boko Haram, whose pattern matched the attack, bomb, then gunfire, targeting Christians. Analysts argued the group aimed to provoke sectarian war, forcing communities into mutual distrust and revenge. Months later, survivors reported nightmares. Loud noises triggered panic attacks. Some never returned to campus worship. Lectures were suspended. Parents demanded transfers. Fear replaced academic focus. The Nigerian federal government condemned the attack. Security meetings were convened urgently in Abuja. The presidency vowed to defeat terrorism. Yet many citizens questioned whether enough was being done. Increased military presence flooded Kano. Checkpoints multiplied. Raids intensified. Human rights groups warned that mass arrests could fuel further radicalization. Christian and Muslim leaders in Kano jointly condemned the attack, urging calm and unity. Many seized this as a joke. Global media reported the bombing as another escalation in Nigeria's insurgency crisis. Some survivors spoke of survivors' guilt, asking why they lived while friends died. Funerals were held under heavy security. Parents buried children who had only gone to school for education. Counseling services were scarce. Many victims carried invisible wounds for years. Universities across northern Nigeria increased gate checks and armed patrols. The attack showed their capacity for coordinated urban strikes, expanding beyond rural strongholds. Kano, once known primarily for commerce and scholarship, became internationally associated with insurgent violence. Security agencies pursued suspects, but prosecutions were limited and intelligence gaps remained. Students who survived the attack graduated into a Nigeria still battling insecurity. The Bayero University attack was one chapter in a larger insurgency that would later include mass kidnappings and territorial cessions. Today, the attack remains a painful memory for the Bayero University Kano community. April 29, 2012, was not just an attack on a church service. It was an assault on education, coexistence, and hope. The echoes of that Sunday morning still linger in Kano's history. History must be preserved and history must be told. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also turn up the notification button for more information videos.